gathering here today. This is what makes Mississippi State baseball special to me, is the amount of interest we have in our rural area of the world. You know, to see all you guys here, I really appreciate that. We're excited about this group this year. We have some experience. We feel like we have some depth, and you know, as we've mentioned in the past, we feel like it all starts on the mound and defensively for us. But I feel like we're going to have a much more capable offensive club than we have in the past. As mentioned before by Joe, I was fortunate enough to play on a team in 1989 that was ranked #1 for a pretty good portion of the year, and I feel like in some ways, you know, this team is so different just because of the nature of college baseball and the nature of the way our ballpark sets up. I think in '89 we were really an offensive-heavy type of club, and I think now we're more of a pitching, defense-oriented club. But this is a good group. It's a fun group to be around. They work really hard. They communicate really well. I think it's a group that's pretty comfortable in their own skin. And again, that's a little bit different than some of our previous clubs in Mississippi State. So I think our kids are really excited about getting started, although we have a lot of work to do before that. And you know, I think there's a lot of excitement in the air. You know, obviously, with the rankings coming out, I think, gosh, I think some folks have had us at 20 or 16, and Baseball America had us at 5. I think that's fun for our players. I think it's fun for the fans. But you know, there's not a lot of discussion about that within our daily work. I think our kids know that you're really not trying to defeat the polls. You're not really not trying to defeat an opponent. You're trying to defeat the game, and the game, you know, is going to try and punch in the mouth at every opportunity. So I think this club has the ability to combat some issues on a club, and most of those issues are always around pitching depth. And for right now, based on our pitching depth, I think that's the most exciting thing about our club. So I know there's some very broad strokes, but you know, I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody has.
I was talking with Jeffrey Ray the other day and kind of noted that you've got a lot of Jeffrey Ray type players on your roster.
I sure do.
Is the makeup of your roster just about as close to perfect as it's been since you've been here, you think?
Yeah, I think it just really meets the needs of our ballpark. Yeah. And what we're trying to do in the theme of our program. Yeah, I'd love to have I'd love to have 5 or 6 Jeffrey Rays, and I do feel like we have some kids that kind of meet that. It's the fastest team I've ever coached. You know, just at our testing at the end of the fall, we're running 60 and 40-yard dashes by far and away. It's the fastest group of kids I've seen. So we have that component. I think we can get to balls defensively, and I think we can pressure some folks offensively. But certainly, yeah, that comparison to Jeffrey Ray, I think fits in line with what we're trying to do.
Without having any clue as to what the rotation is going to look like going into February, John, did you like the way you did it last year, where you would ducktail 2 guys maybe through 6, 7, 8 innings of a ball game, and how that worked out throughout the first month? And do you see you and Bush doing that again?
Yeah, especially early in the year when, you know, what are you going to get? You're going to get 80 pitches, maybe 90 pitches out of somebody in a start. So you're going to have to kind of cobble the whole thing together a little bit. But yeah, we have 5 or 6 candidates that we really like. You know, certainly, I'm just looking at my list. Certainly, Evan Mitchell's, you know, one of those guys. He has really pitched well in the fall and the spring. You know, you kind of hope he makes the same jump that certainly Chris Stratton made. Evan's probably a little bit better athlete than Chris. You know, he's one of the fastest guys on our team as well. You know, he's running some balls up there 94 to 96, and he's got a great breaking ball, and his ability to control the running game is really matured. And he's eliminated a lot of what I call BM, big miss. You know, when you miss big, it causes a whole variety of problems for you on the mound, and he's really eliminated a lot of that, and I think he's got a chance to be one of those 3 guys. We're a better team if he ends up being one of those guys, better pitching staff. I'd say Brandon Woodruff is probably, you know, if you want to use the expression wild card, he's probably the biggest wild card on our pitching staff right now, because you just He is one of the few guys on our club right now who has dealt with some arm tenderness. If he comes back strong, I think he's a great candidate as well. Certainly, Jacob Lindgren is somebody who's just pitched very, very well early in the spring and you know, has a power breaking ball, power fastball, and again, has been able to control the strike zone for the most part. I think that, you know, certainly Kendall Graveman, somebody that we're depending upon. Kendall had a little surgery at the end of last semester, and he's just about full speed now. His two bullpens prior to his last start on Tuesday were just phenomenal. I think, you know, the start on Tuesday wasn't what he wanted it to be because I think he was just a little bit more tentative finishing some pitches. But you know, certainly he'll be a mainstay for us. I think anytime you're talking about the SEC or college baseball, I think that for our club, Saturday is going to be the biggest issue in terms of a starter because I think on Fridays and Sundays we can afford to cut a starter a little short because I feel like we have so much bullpen support. But the Saturday guys, he's going to have to go out and get a 6 or 7 innings. So, you know, as a Saturday guy, does that end up being Kendall Graveman, who's more of an innings eater-upper? There's so much prowess attached to the Friday night guy, but I don't think that's necessarily, you know, every one of those games is just as important as Friday night. So, no, really don't put as much stock into the Friday guy.
But you like